campaign, candidate Trump promised to end the DACA program, which protects hundreds of thousands of so-called dreamers from deportation. But as president, he's made it clear he is struggling with this. Take a look.
DACA is a very, very difficult subject for me, I will tell you. To me, it's one of the most difficult subjects I have, because you have these incredible kids. They shouldn't be very worried. They are here illegally. They shouldn't be very worried. I do have a big heart.
Now, Congressman Chaffetz, the president has said he is going to announce what he's going to do on DACA on Tuesday, which is also the day that 10 states are saying that they are going to file suit against the government because they claim DACA as an executive order is unconstitutional. But a lot of Republicans, starting with your own former House Speaker, he's still the House Speaker, but you're a former Congressman, Paul Ryan, says that he shouldn't end DACA. Is Ryan and are those other Republicans wrong?
Well, the president has a mandate based on the election to lock down that border, get rid of the rewards and incentives to be here illegally, and reject amnesty. I do think the president, based on my conversations with people on the Hill the last 48 hours or so, I think what the president's going to do is give a window of opportunity for Congress to actually do something on immigration reform over a 6-month period. That's my best guess as to what's going to happen. I don't think you'll see him clearly just cut it off the very next day, later this week. I don't think that's going to happen. And I think the president does have a big heart, and it is difficult to deal with somebody who was brought here as a 2-year-old. But the president also campaigned on the idea that we're not going to provide rewards and incentives. I do think it'll be an impetus to get Luis Gutierrez and other members on the Democratic side of the aisle to the table to know that they're going to have to actually work in a bipartisan way to try to achieve some of the things that the president has gotten elected on.
So let me make sure I understand what you're suggesting. Say that we're going to end DACA, but give a 6-month window for Congress to do something. And of course, the obvious question then is, would funding for the border wall be part of that deal?
Well, again, they have to get the funding for the border wall. It's a modest amount. It's less than $2 billion out of a $4 trillion budget. I do think the president will get that money, but I also think you'll see a continuing resolution that will punt some of these really tough decisions down to later in December. I don't think
let's ruin our Christmas and New Year's. Let's do that.
Yes.
Marie, I want to bring you in because, look, people can disagree with the merits of protecting the dreamers, whether it creates an incentive, whether it's amnesty. On the other hand, there certainly is a legitimate argument that President Obama acted illegally, unconstitutionally in doing this by executive order, and it should be better done by Congress.
Well, and the courts, I think, are going to they have been looking at it, and they will continue to. I get nervous relying on Congress right now to fix anything because they've shown themselves incapable of being able to pass anything major, even though they control both the House, the Senate, and the White House. Look, there are 141,000 DACA recipients just in Texas, to bring together Harvey and Texas for a second. These are people, we've seen stories. There's a Houston area paramedic who's been saving lives of people, who is a DACA recipient. Getting rid of this without a plan to replace it, as the congressman talked about, Congress, may fix it, seems to me to just quite frankly be mean. And I hate to use that word, but it seems mean. It also is bad economics. You asked Secretary Mnuchin about that during your interview with him, and he kind of wavered on that because there are studies that say if you kick out all these people, we will lose billions and billions of dollars in revenue.
But if the Democrats thought this was such an imperative when they had the House and Senate and the presidency, guess what? They didn't do anything with it.
That was a long time ago.
President Obama didn't do anything of this until a few months before a presidential election. That's the reality of it.
Well, let's all put our hopes in Congress to actually get something done.
There's a reason that businesses are pushing the president not to do this. I mean, there is definitely an economic piece to this that the president is clearly considering, and that businesses and Republicans and Democrats are as well.
15 seconds. How would you feel if he did what Congressman Chaffetz is suggesting? I'm going to stop DACA, but I'll give you 6 months to fix it.
We need an immigration policy that makes sense for over 320 million Americans, not for small segments of sympathetic groups.
Thank you, panel. See you next Sunday. Up next, our Power Player of the Week, the Blue Angels, flying high and inspiring pride.